Welcome back to Just Giants with Grump and the Cranky Fan, the best damn podcast for the best damn football team. I'm your host, the Football Grump. With me, as always, is Mike, the Cranky Fan, and today is the day. Last night was the night. The NFL schedule has been released officially, and the New York Giants have 18 weeks of
football.
Of football. I wanted to make a joke like misery, but I actually think that there's some things to like about this schedule. You said there's some things you don't like about it, so let's get right into it. I don't want to waste any time. Let's go right into week one. The Giants are home hosting J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings Sunday at 1 o'clock, September 8th. Tell me your thoughts. Any thoughts?
I feel it's like one of the only real breaks we have on this schedule. I think you're going to catch a team with a rookie quarterback playing his first game. That to me is an advantage for us. Overall, I think this schedule does nothing for us. If we feel like we're kind of back in the old days, like wrestling, when it'd be Hulk Hogan playing like wrestling John Smith. I feel like we're the John Smith in this. A lot of these matchups seem to benefit the other team, the more favorable team. So this is one of the rare weeks where I feel like we get an advantage by catching a rookie quarterback week one at home.
Glass Joe.
Yeah.
That's who fights Hulk Hogan. I think I like this one because it's not the Cowboys, right? I also think of all, like, this is kind of a bizarro schedule where we're playing against the AFC North, okay, and the NFC South. The NFC South I can jive with as being like there's some cool matchups in there. The AFC North is bizarre. The cool thing about it is that it's half of very old franchises and half, not even half. The Bengals are not really a new franchise. They've been around for 50
since the 60s.
years.
I mean,
yeah,
50 years now. Yeah.
And then the Ravens, which is kind of the old Colts. So in a lot of ways, it's like historic teams in a lot of ways. But it just feels weird. I feel nothing about playing AFC North teams other than maybe the Steelers. But the Vikings, being the team from the NFC North that we're pulling for placing in the same spot, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Here's the cool thing. It's the team we beat in the playoffs very recently. Like, if there's one thing that we can celebrate in the last couple of years, we had a playoff win against the Vikings.
We have a very interesting playoff history because remember, we blew them out.
Oh, we beat the shit out of them in 2001.
And then there was that disgraceful playoff game back in 96, I think, when we blew it at home. 95, 96. So we do have a playoff history with this team. And I mean, this is a great example why I never buy into, well, it's the fourth hardest schedule on record like this year based on last year, because, when you have a completely different quarterback.
Oh, last year means nothing.
It means nothing. I know people are like, the Giants have the hardest strength of schedule coming into the year. I mean, no, that's last year's team is last year's team. This has nothing to do with anything. So,
I mean, that's the same thing as patting yourself on the back for being ranked number one in July.
Exactly. Well, that's different. I mean, that being ranked preseason number one is clearly on perception. This is based trying to quantify something that is completely irrelevant today.
True.
Yeah.
Moving right along to week two, we're heading down to FedEx Field in it's not really in Washington, D.C., I don't think. I don't know where the hell it is. But it's another Sunday 1 o'clock game, September 15th at the Commanders. Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors face off. I like this matchup too.
Another break we're getting with the schedule. We're going to catch a rookie quarterback. Is that their first home game?
I don't know if it's theirs. I've only looked at the Giants' schedule, just as an
FYI. Honestly, so have I. I am very heliocentric. I just care about us. But that's the case. There's going to be some pressure on him. His first game at home, he's going to be the latest savior of the franchise, and not ready.
Do you think there's a chance that Marcus Mariota is the quarterback in week two? Because I do. I think that's possible.
I think there's no chance.
Interesting.
I think when you got a guy like the Heisman Trophy winner with a lot of hype and is coming in, there's little to no chance he's sitting on the bench. I think they're going to throw him out there.
All right. I'm all for it. I mean, I really hate that the quarterback I like the most went to the team in the division, but we'll deal.
Until this team can prove they can groom quarterbacks and build a franchise around a young quarterback, I'll worry about the Washington Football Club, whatever the hell they're called now at
Is
that
this a
point.
is this a travel game for us, or are you going to be in Florida?
This schedule completely sucks with my Gator schedule. So the Minnesota game is a 6 a.m. flight from Gainesville. If we go to Washington, that's another 6 a.m. flight from Gainesville. So
Okay.
probably not, but never say never.
Week 3. This is our first venture into the AFC North at the Cleveland Browns. Sunday, another 1 o'clock game, 3 straight, September 22nd. I'm pretty sure I've said this on the show many times. I think Sunday 1 o'clock and Sunday 4 o'clock is the classic matchup. I don't love night games. I don't love Monday games, Thursday. I don't even like really, I don't love watching them. I got to be honest. Like, Monday, just got a lot of shit going on Monday. It's hard. It's hard to fully enjoy a game. Thursday, I can get into Thursday, but I think it sucks for the team and it sucks for the product, like because the team doesn't have enough rest. Sunday 1 o'clock is the perfect game for me, especially bright early September.
I, in theory, I would like that, but again, based on
It sucks for
travel
you.
my travel schedule, the way I kind of try to do everything, it's really hard for me. I mean, I make it around kickoff, but I really can't just sit around and say, I'm ready for the 1 o'clock games. I'm usually either on a flight or racing to get to the Meadowlands or something. So I my personal selfishness says I wish every game was at 4 o'clock, but I do understand and appreciate the all right, it's 1 o'clock. Even like little silly things like the shadows are different at 1 o'clock at a
Yep.
stadium. It feels like,
Tailgating
bright.
feel like there's something about like a breakfast tailgate as well. You
Hmm.
know, I
Sure.
to me it's the classic football game, and then the 4 o'clock games is just the 1 o'clock West Coast game. So like to me, 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock, those are the prime ones. I wish I
Grump,
could go to this game.
Grump, I'm kind of feeling like this might be our travel game.
I could probably make it work. I've never been there, so
To the city of Cleveland or the stadium?
either. I've driven around the city.
I've been to Cleveland a couple times for baseball. I was there for the finals, the infamous Draymond Green kicking LeBron in the balls game I was at. It's Cincinnati. Cleveland to me is like Detroit and Pittsburgh, underrated cities. Like, you're easy to shit on them. Oh, it's Cleveland. The river was on fire, but they have these little downtown areas which are pretty fun, and they're like in the center of everything. And I think this is kind of the prime candidate for me for an away game.
I don't want to hear anyone shit talk Pittsburgh. That's one of my favorite places.
Yeah.
But one of the things I hate the most is this upcoming matchup. And this is one of 2 fucking times that this happens. I hate this. This is my least favorite thing about this schedule. A Thursday night game, which I think is bullshit. And it's against a division rival. I
This
really don't think that it's good for anybody when division rivals get short rest to play each other.
No,
And that's what this is.
this is an example of, again, we are broken glass against Hulk Hogan, where you know having Dallas. First of all, if anybody knows anything about how the way the Giant fan is, it's a guaranteed lock that almost every Giant season ticket holder over the age of 30 is
Sells
going
this
to,
ticket.
besides us, are
Yeah.
going to sell their tickets. So you're going to have a stacked deck at MetLife, being probably at least 50% Cowboy fans, if not more.
You see a lot of
Um,
Prescott and Parsons and
yeah,
Elliott's, and that's it.
and when you have the short rest, the team with more talent has the advantage just because they have more talent and more depth. And to me, they're doing absolutely no favors by giving us the short rest twice against the same team. I think that is,
It's a
I I
travesty in my opinion.
I get it, because the NFL is such hookers and whores for
I was gonna
TV
say
revenue.
this is the kiss and make up for Amazon getting a bunch of bad games. Because
Yeah,
even if this is a bad game, and it probably will be, it'll draw eyes.
it doesn't matter. I mean, again, the Hall of Fame game will draw more people than the Stanley Cup Finals will. So it's all about eyeballs and watching, and most people just want to watch. And you put on the marquee team in the NFL against one of its primary rivals. The way they just screwing the actual fans of the teams is like, especially the home teams. It's really bullshit, and it's just a way, the subtle ways that the league tries to make their marquee teams better,
Yeah.
and give give Dallas the easiest road through a division rival game is throw them on a Thursday night, so their fans will sell their tickets.
I detest that. I think that's one of my least favorite matchups in this whole thing.
It's my least favorite.
Actually, it is. It's my least favorite. Following that, week 5 at Seattle, so we have plenty of rest for this West Coast flight. Sunday, 4:25, October 6th. I'm all about this game. I like this game. I feel like we've played Seattle like every other year for like a decade now.
There too.
Yeah,
It
it
doesn't seem
does.
like they have. Yeah. Um, I've never been to that stadium for
Lumen
football.
Field.
I've been there for soccer. I've not been there for it. I mean, I'd like to. I got another Gator home game. I'm not going across the country, especially if this team is shitty.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe in a different year with different circumstance, but not this year.
Following that, we have our next AFC North battle. We will be hosting the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday Night Football, October 13th. I don't love night games, but if I have to pick one, the Sunday night game is the one I will pick every single time. Very odd Sunday night matchup, huh?
Happy birthday to me that day.
That's right.
It also is a great help because I will be in Knoxville that Saturday for Florida, Tennessee, and I will need all the time I can get to get back. I don't even think there's a nonstop flight from Knoxville to New York, so that gives me time to actually get home and prepare for this. So
And
again,
you better not. Oh, never mind.
my very first view of the schedule is always the selfish one of how does it make my life easier. I'm all for this. And again, unfortunately, though, it's another attempt that a relative marquee game on the schedule becomes a night game, and season ticket holders will sell. That's too bad.
I was gonna say you better not show up in Gator Orange, but I realize you would never wear Gator Orange to Knoxville. So
That is correct. Yes.
following that, we have our first tussle with the Philadelphia Eagles at home Sunday 1 o'clock game. Would have guessed the first time the Giants and Eagles played in MetLife would have been a primetime game. I would have bet that the Saquon homecoming would have been the primetime matchup.
Well, let me ask you something. What are the flexing rules this year?
I don't know, but week 7 is a bit early, huh?
Yeah, but something that could be. I mean, I think that all kind of depends on how good or bad we are, and I think this might be a little bit of a hedge that we're not that good. If we
Good call.
if we were thought that we'd be better, this certainly would be a primetime game. But and also, it's a little bit of a hedge that Saquon may not even be healthy for that game.
True.
So I see the rationale why that's a 1 o'clock game. And quite frankly, does the rest of the country really give a shit? I mean,
I don't know.
Giant fan always has put Saquon Barkley on a pedestal.
Well, no, 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 no.
Giant
Hey,
fan.
hey, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're right. I'm not going to argue with that. But Saquon Barkley is featured in tons of just NFL stuff. He
That's
is an
fine.
NFL guy. I know, if he were on a team that did
But
anything, he'd be even more all over the place.
right, but also he went to Philly. Is that really not? Does the
No, I don't think
national
anyone
audience
cares
really
about
care?
that. I think they care that he went to a division rival. I think if Barry Sanders was signed with the Green Bay Packers, that would be something.
They did it. I think people care like raising an eyebrow. Oh, interesting. I don't
Yeah.
think they're going to be like, make sure cancel Sunday night dinner plans because we got to be home to watch
Yeah.
Saquon potentially not even play.
He doesn't
So
have a fiery enough personality for people to anticipate, like, you know, a spectacle, right? Like if Antonio Brown were to come back into the league and play against, I don't know, Tampa Bay, I
yeah,
guess, or Pittsburgh, you might get some people, or somebody who had a beef with the coach or something, you might get
yeah,
something. But
I get it. So I think we're playing up the emotional, quote unquote, emotional return or the animosity he might receive because now he's with the enemy. I think that's a very that's us fan base. But I don't think if I'm living in Peoria, I'm gonna like, oh Jesus, only 5 more months until looking on the schedule, when is the Saquon return? I don't think that's quite there.
the only thing I care about with this one is that it's a 1 o'clock game, and B, it's only week 7. There's a chance that we're something like 3-4 and somewhat relevant. So, or like 4-3. I'm not even looking at the matchups. Just saying, I don't think it's likely that we'll be like 0-6
Well,
going into this
let's
game.
being super optimistic that the Giant fan, because it's a 1 o'clock game, doesn't sell his ticket. And that's probably around the NLCS. So maybe Philly fan is more concerned about if the Phillies are making a deep playoff run, that they're not going up to a football game.
Yeah,
That's
could be.
being ultimately optimistic, but
Here,
maybe not.
week 8 is the game I hate the second most, and it's because it's on a Monday night and I can't go to it, or I really don't think I want to waste the time going to it. But at Pittsburgh, I've never been to that stadium, and I love that city. This is, to me, this is a classic Monday night matchup because it's such old franchises. Like, to me, when I see like Giants, Steelers, Monday Night Football, I literally picture the old ESPN with the two helmets crashing into each other and racist guy singing a song. Um, that's a joke, everybody. Calm down. But Monday Night Football against the Steelers, I kind of really want to go to this. I just don't know if I'll be able to take it. Being Monday night, taking off of work, it's like I gotta lose 2 days there, and that
Yeah,
sucks.
it's not happening for me. I have a conference that weekend, oh, that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in Cleveland, and I was kind of praying to the football gods that we were playing Cleveland
Mm,
either that Sunday or possibly Monday night game, but alas, no. Pittsburgh might be the best. I know Green Bay gets all the hype for being the best, football atmosphere, but Pittsburgh is really one of a kind.
yeah.
It's too bad. Again, we're getting no favors from the scheduling by making the Monday night game on the road again. But this is not the second worst thing on my list.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, again, not really looking too much at matchups here.
No,
Anyway.
not talking matchup. I'm talking about just schedule placement. Just
Mm.
forget matchup. Just what I don't like about this schedule. This is not number two for me. It's coming up.
Oh, okay. Week 9 versus the Commanders at home, Sunday, 1 o'clock, November 3rd. I don't have any thoughts about this particular game other than I am enjoying that the Commanders portion of this is over early. I think that those like week 17, who's going to finish in last place in the NFC East matchups was not very fun for anyone except these two fan bases. And getting these division games out of the way early is better than not. And I like that the division game seems to be very spaced out. Week 2, week 4, week 7, week 9. I'm enjoying that. Other than that, I have no thoughts. You?
It's just I'm going to get screwed again because it's Florida Georgia the night before and another 6 a.m. flight from Jacksonville. Sucks.
Hope it's worth it.
Well, we're going to get the shit beat out of us on Saturday. Hopefully, it's not the same on Sunday.
Week 10, we go to Munich, Germany. Sunday at I think 9:30 in the morning Eastern, November 10th. The Giants
Yep.
will be away at the Carolina Panthers in Munich, Germany. I'm the most sad that I just can't afford this trip this year. I should have had like a rainy day Munich fund, and I might have to start one, but um this is the coolest shit ever. I love the Germany game. I love the London games. I'm interested in what the Brazil game is going to be like. I don't really want to talk about that here, but I do like the international series. I think it's a lot of fun.
There was one Gator game this year that I am not missing. If this Munich game would have been any other game in the season, I would have been like, all right, I'm not going to this game or this. This is the weekend we're playing Texas for the first time, and we have 15 people going on this trip.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it has to be the same weekend as the game in Munich. So I will be in Austin that weekend, not Munich. I'm pretty disappointed. Friend of ours went to Munich when the Bucks were there 2 years ago and had an absolute blast. It's unfortunate that the timing, the football gods continuously just give it to me every year, and this is an example. And I realize by this point, all you people are absolutely sick of me whining about me.
Yeah.
Tough.
Meanwhile,
You.
enjoyed many
Meanwhile,
national championships.
meanwhile,
And
if you want, yeah. Meanwhile, if you want to be me, too bad. So it sucks for me, but for the Giants, Carolina's not going to be good again. So hopefully go over there and take care
kick,
of business.
kick some ass, World War II style.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the
But
Carolina Panzers. Week 11 bye week. I love that this is kind of in the center of the schedule. This is
yep.
optimal for me. Um,
especially optimal after the Europe trip. It's like
yes,
they can really just kind of, you know,
sleep off the
get
hangover.
yeah, just just reset. It's a perfect time to reset.
Week 12 at home hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday 1 o'clock November 24th. That is happy birthday to me, kinda sorta, one day late.
Yep.
Um, love this. I don't mind ever going to Tampa November 24th or around my birthday at all.
Well, really, well, unfortunately, the game is in the Meadowlands, so you're not going anywhere.
I know, but I don't ever mind hosting at any
Oh,
point during the year. I
oh,
never
I
mind
got,
hosting the Buccaneers.
I got you. Yes, that is obviously, among our friend base, Giants and Bucks is a much bigger deal than probably anybody else who listens to this podcast. But we will have a small contingency coming up from Tampa again on that 6 a.m. flight from Gainesville.
Was this the second Baker Daniel Jones matchup ever?
I believe it is.
Because the other time one of them was hurt, and
Yep.
then I think it was it 2 years ago? It was 2022 was the first time they actually faced against each other. I think.
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't remember. My
We'll
brain cells are starting to
we'll
fry.
see if everyone's healthy for that game.
Yeah.
Week 13 at the Dallas Cowboys, Thanksgiving night, November 28th. Now, I don't mind that we play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I mind that we play two Thursday games in 1 year is bullshit. Two division rivals on Thursday games in 1 year, which is bullshit. Neither Thursday game comes after a bye, which is bullshit. And the Cowboys both times on Thursday is also bullshit. This is such horseshit. I don't
I hate
mind
it.
that this game exists, but the week 4, that's why the week 4 one sucks that much.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I mean, I love watching football on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
But I also there's a difference between watching football on Thanksgiving
And
and watching a
stressing football.
giant game. I have learned throughout my years if you are sitting around with people that don't really care about something as much as you do, it's not pleasant for anybody. It's not
Right.
pleasant for me. It's not pleasant for the people around them. And it's not that I'm like running around like a maniac, a raging lunatic, but it's
But you're
just
not
like
being social.
not even being social. They're just not on my wavelength.
Mm.
They don't understand it. Obviously this is my favorite team and all the implications of this, and I'm playing a rival and all. And they're just like they're watching football because that's what we do on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate that. I absolutely hate it. And for the reasons you gave, again, we're playing, you know, a rival, one of the two favorites for the division with minimal rest. It just sucks. And that's part of the problem of us being a popular franchise is that we are shown for more eyeballs to see, and we have to suffer for that.
Red light district. Um, week 14. Well, isn't that the thing? Like they stand in the window and turn on the red light. More eyeballs to see. That's where I was going with that joke.
I don't know where you were going. I
All
was
right.
thinking.
You don't have to appreciate it. It's all right.
I was thinking of Red Light, the song by U2. I was all
Oh
over
yeah,
that.
no, I
I
would
was nowhere
never.
where you were going. So fine.
I would be closer with the Police than you two. Um,
Oh, okay.
uh,
And there's your
Roxanne.
80s. There's your 80s music moment brought to you by the friends at Just Giants.
Week 14 versus the New Orleans Saints. Sunday 1 o'clock. Lots of Sunday 1 o'clock. I'm a big fan. December 8th. I think pretty much nothing about this game. I'm just glad that it's not in New Orleans. I don't know.
Love it. The odds of me having to get up at 6 in the morning from the Gators going to the SEC championship game are less than nil. So I will be a rare 1 o'clock, getting up nice and early, being at the
Oh,
at the Talking Giants tailgate for once. I think this might be actually, if I get this correctly, looking at the schedule, honestly, will be the first time I'll be able to be at the tailgate this year.
wow. And you know
Because
what? You're setting yourself up right now for like some kind of train mishap or something where you're going to miss it.
Well,
I,
no,
I
I mean, no, because we have nothing going on Saturday, so I can get up at 8 in the morning and go.
yeah, and there's going to
Oh, yeah,
be
you're saying the New Jersey chance of a meltdown?
yeah.
That's actually not true. The Cincinnati night game is I'll be there for that tailgate
Okay.
too.
All right. Oh, that's true. Yeah, cuz it's a night
Yeah.
game.
Yep.
Um Week 15 versus the Baltimore Ravens, Sunday, 1 o'clock, December 15th. Did we play in Baltimore since the time in 2022 when we beat them here?
No,
Interesting.
we didn't. If we did, we would have probably gone.
Um, I'm not sure. I'm not really following. I guess last time we weren't playing the AFC North. That was just the other
It was
AFC
it,
team.
it was just
Okay.
a slotting game, I think.
Okay. All right. Then that's why. Still interesting. Uh, I mean, I'll never feel good about playing the Ravens. It just feels like that
No,
team's never been bad ever.
right. And going back to New Orleans and Baltimore at 1 o'clock, the big thing for me is 1 o'clock. At least will be kind of daylight,
Yep.
and it won't be the potential for being freezing cold watching a 3-10 team is
It'll be cold,
minimized.
but at least there'll be sunlight of some kind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll feel a little more. It won't feel as gloomy watching a 3-10 team if it's 1 o'clock in bright sun as opposed to you know it's dark and it's like 3 o'clock
Yeah.
and you're 3-10 and you're reassessing your life at that point.
Um. One thing I didn't mention, week 8, the Steelers game. That's like kind of the Halloween game. October 28th is another reason I'm kind of bummed I can't make it out there. I don't think I'm gonna make it out there. Halloween games I think are just fun.
All right,
Week 16 at the Atlanta Falcons, Sunday, 1 o'clock. This is very close to Christmas, December
family. That's
22nd.
family party game.
Oh, is it?
That's Sunday before Christmas, so yeah.
Okay. Well, then
So
this is slot this one for a loss.
of course, I think our record in family Christmas party watching the Giants is 0-37.
There you go.
So yeah, but it being an away game doesn't mean we have to not go to the party. Doesn't mean we have to leave early. We can just sit at our bar stools up on the little deck area where
Mm-hmm.
Grump's sisters host the party, and we have a good time.
We drink and get miserable and then turn around and celebrate Christmas. And that's,
Day ho ho
yeah.
ho.
Week 17, this is our first possible Saturday game. There's no designed day or time yet, so it's either the 28th or 29th versus the Indianapolis Colts. Last time we played the Colts was glorious beatdown in 2022.
Oh yeah, that might have been one of the most. That might have been the most fun game we've been to in a decade.
That
Like
was
just
fun.
just all about just how fun it was. Just like we're beating this team. We're about to go to the playoffs. It's all good. The era of good feelings. That was definitely the last one we've had of those for a while that we've
Unfortunately,
attended.
Jeff Saturday is not the coach anymore. So,
Yeah, no.
and then we round out the season with, of course, a division game at the Philadelphia Eagles, Sunday, January 5th. Um, I'm
The
okay with
an
this. I'm okay with
the
this.
the annual Philly isn't playing anybody. We can sneak a win out, which probably will fuck over our chance to get Harrison Beck. So
I uh I do think that putting your division games at the beginning and end of the season for the most part makes for exciting standings watching. I think
love it.
that it's smart to recognize the teams that are not likely to be doing a whole lot of that and not crowd too many at the end. And the Giants don't have too many at the end. Just 2 division games after their bye and only 1 in the last 5 games of the year. So and if it had to be anyone, I'm glad that it's not the Commanders. Like I said earlier, I think we were all kind of getting sick of those who's drafting higher or who's finishing last in the division kind of bragging rights week 17, week 18 games. So we don't get that this year. Unless the Eagles also suck.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like playing division games towards the end because in a real world, in an alternative reality, we're actually kind of decent, and we're like, we need to beat this team to win a division,
Yeah, you make like a
or
two
or
spot
or th-
swing.
or thinking about seeding not for draft picks but for home field advantage throughout. And it's like, once you get through it, the Dallases and Phillies pretty early, it's like, well, it's really, if you look at this guy, this is really shaping up to be kind of an awful stretch at the end of the year because if we're really bad and if Daniel Jones is hurt again and we're in Tommy DeVito land or whatever, we're playing a bunch of teams that we really
Nathan
have.
Rourke. Come on.
Yeah, we have a string of games: New Orleans, Baltimore, Atlanta, Philly, where there's no juice really to any of those games. They're curiosities, but there's no juice.
That is true.
And it's just like, all right, we're sitting here in the cold, with our thumbs up our ass. Like, that's not too exciting. At least when you're playing, like, we played Philly twice in the last 3 games last year, and there's a Washington throw, and it's like, well, the season's kind of done, but I still want to beat those bitches. Like, oh, the Dirty Birds are here, or we're going there.
Yeah, now I get you because it's still got that like college rivalry game thing where
A
it's like,
little
you know
bit,
what, we
yeah.
were terrible, but at least we beat the Eagles at home. You know what I
Now
mean?
we're just kind of playing out the string. It feels like,
But
and
at the same time, you have a bunch of teams that are going to look at this on their schedule, and we'll get into more. I'm not trying to analyze these matchups, but I just want to close out this thought that you had.
mhm, mhm.
Um, you have a bunch of teams on this schedule at the end there: Saints, Ravens, Falcons, Colts, who are probably not concerned with the Giants on their schedule as well. Maybe the
Yeah.
Saints. I could see the Saints maybe having a wild card situation. I mean, the NFC South is whatever. Um,
Any one of those teams any year can win
I know it feels well. Carolina's not winning it, but
it. I was being
uh,
nice.
but yeah. And so this might be one of those ones where if they can sneak these wins, they might come roaring back into the wild card picture depending on how they start the year. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not trying to put any lofty expectations on the year, but having a bunch of nothing games at the very end of the year can kind of help a team squirrel their way back up to the top. I don't know.
Uh,
They not
yeah,
like all those AFC games. They don't have a ton of help added to your standings criteria, your tie breaking criteria. But if you
on
need
paper,
wins quickly to get back into it, that's not
on
bad.
paper, this does not look like a huge hurdle to climb if we're trying to get back into something. But again, we don't know. We
Yeah,
don't
why? Yeah,
know. All of a sudden, we did not see Anthony Richardson last year. He might come back and be,
that's a good point.
could be rookie of the year. He could be complete badass this year. And all of a sudden, there he is in December 29th, and they're fighting for a wild card spot or something. So I really, each year, I really try not to play that. Well, based on the past, this is going to be hard because we honestly really don't know. But
Yeah,
the on paper smell test says, you know, I don't see in this schedule also compared to last year like that gauntlet of like Jesus H Christ like we had last year. Remember, it was just like,
yeah. I mean, it
I
could
mean,
be depending on how. I mean, it's again. Let's we're gonna save this really for the pens
yeah,
and pencils portion of our
season,
podcast.
yeah.
Um, but we haven't seen a whole lot of Joe Burrow. He keeps getting hurt. You know, if Joe Burrow is the Joe Burrow we saw at LSU, you kind of could have a bit of a stretch between Cleveland, Dallas on that Thursday night turnaround, at Seattle, then the Bengals, then the Eagles, then the Steelers. That's pretty tough. And like even if Burrow stinks out loud, it's still kind of a
I mean,
stretch.
it's tougher that we're going to Pittsburgh more than Pittsburgh itself is. It could be. I
I
mean,
don't
but
know. It's
again,
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Nah. I'm,
Well, I
believe
mean,
me,
it's not like Kenny
I'm not
Pickett.
losing any winks over Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I
maybe
mean,
just a game
it
though.
it just seemed like when we did this exact same episode 52 weeks ago, it was like, holy Christ,
That's
this
true.
is this is our season
And
could
that
be
was
pretty
coming
much
off of
over,
that was coming off of a high.
right? And we were definitely saying like our season could be over by week 7 if things broke wrong and they broke even worse than we had hoped. I see this as manageable even if we're not that good. Like there's no like I don't know how much magic marker I'm going to have out right at this
Oh,
initial thing.
yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there.
I'm talking about because of schedule, not
No, no,
because of just
and I'm
us.
gonna agree with you.
Yeah.
The if there's one takeaway that I like about this is that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 scheduled 1 o'clock games.
Yeah.
I'm into that. If you're gonna be miserable, I might as well be home by 4:30.
And
That's
warmer.
yeah, that's what I mean. Warm, watching other teams. You know what I mean? Like
I'm overall.
I hate being miserably horrible and getting home at 1:30 in the morning from a Monday night game.
Well,
I
that's the
really
worst.
really can't stand that.
I'm just overall disappointed with the schedule because with there are some really appealing away games and we really have no shot to go to any of them. Uh,
Yeah, we'll figure
Even
something. We
even
always
even
figure
thing
something out.
even things like the Tampa Bay game, which traditionally is a lot of fun. We have friends come up, and it's like there's no tailgate because we're going to be going through fucking Atlanta at eight in the morning.
Hmm.
So like again, I know this is an incredible Gripe Fest episode, and go
This one
ahead and
always is for you, though.
yeah, go ahead and flame me out all you want. I really don't care. You wish you can go to 2 games a week like I can, but it's me being a dick. But no, I at this initial glance, and we're going to get into it more, I don't see this as being a killer schedule. I see it as just disappointing.
I think I agree with you. And I'm just going to leave on this one last thing. If anyone hasn't looked at their Giants app, they changed it to the 100th season commemorative logo. Or at least on my phone it is. Um,
Well, we can also, one other important note is that as we're preparing for this schedule, we get to be on a new version of Hard Knocks.
oh, yeah. And I'm on board with this. John Mara has always said that he wouldn't want his team on Hard Knocks. I don't want the Giants on Hard Knocks. I think that being on a Hard Knocks during the training camp is a tactical disadvantage. I think it was J.J. Watt that said that he figured out the Miami cadence just by watching them on Hard
Hmm.
Knocks, and he was just like guessing their snap count based off of it. I think it allows too much information out into a world where every bit of film, rumor, everything is
Well,
dissected. But that being said, the Giants is covering their off season, so they are going to be finishing recording next month. It's from January to June.
well, I don't like it because you know training camp is a purpose. It's to be prepared for the season. It's
Right.
not. It's not being on American Idol. It's not being on the Real Housewives of East Rutherford. It's about doing a job. And when those cameras are there, this isn't the first year where it was just sort of fly on the wall, you know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
documenting what's going on. This has now become performance art. And every moment that, a Kayvon Thibodeau or a Malik Neighbors is in front of a camera, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, and that is being prepared for the season.
Right.
So
I don't
this kind
really
of
I don't really want something chronicling the guy who might maybe be the 53rd guy in the roster and how I'm supposed to feel bad. Like no, it's
mhm.
it's nice. I understand there's a human element. I also am watching this because I want my team to be great, not to be the team full of the biggest huggers. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. Take your feel good story and shove it out the window. They do the same story every year, and I don't know why people eat it up. It's always
because
chronicling
it's
some guy
because
that
it's football. We love football.
yeah.
We do. That's the short answer.
All right, so that's going to do it for this episode. On Monday night, we'll be recording another one for Tuesday morning that will be a little bit more thought provoking as we get um, into the, I guess the philosophy and vision for the 2024 New York Giants, right? So that's kind of going to be that, and then we have some OTAs coming up it's going to be pretty much every weekend until mandatory minicamp.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of our schedule going
And then we
forward.
start pencils and pens, and before you know it, we're almost ready for training camp.
Yeah,
So,
isn't that scary? All right,
oof.
everyone, be sure to tell a friend about us and where they can find us, which is iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, and of course, YouTube. Anywhere where you find your audio podcast, you'll find us, and YouTube hosts us as well. And until next time, we'll see you. Go
Go
Giants.
Giants.